Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks bringing you your weekly Bitcoin update, a series we've been putting on for, I don't know, gosh, a couple of years maybe? Intermittently a couple of years, weekly as a continuation weekly series for several months. So, anyway, 86,790 5-year channel top. We settled above over a year ago. And while we collapsed back to and even broke below this 5-year channel top, we never settled below it. On a weekly basis, I could zoom in here. I won't. Just trust me. I have before, but it's post-editing. We never closed back below this structure, despite the spikes that occurred below it. This was during the tariff talks earlier last year, or the tariff threats, I should say, the tariff war. And then the rally was, in some part, the resolution or the relaxing of many of those tariffs. 122,433 is a long-term wave count, and it came into existence as an objective following the settlement above this 5-year channel top at 86,790. 122,433 is a static level. It is nothing more than subtracting the 22 low from the 21 high and then adding that right back to the 21 high. That is the full swing, as I often call it, an exhaustion point for any market, especially long-term. Now, the question is this a long-term high or not? I think we can retest it, holding above not only the 86,790 level, but more importantly, this 2-year rising channel bottom, soon to be 3 years, really. You could actually call it 3 because we come out of January of 23 with this low 3-year channel bottom at 84,522, which we tested outright the early November, the week of November 10th, tested it, broke below it very slightly, and since then it it is held. And in fact, the 3-year trend in Bitcoin remains bullish above 84,522, anticipating the possibility, and we're talking long term, we've got this, this low from here, from August of 24 to this high, December of 24. This is like a 5-month rally. Can we rally to the channel top over the next 5 months? That channel top is here at 135,595. And the answer to that is yes. Certainly with a higher volatility instrument like Bitcoin, we could make ourselves by the middle of the year to 135,595. Don't discount that as a possibility. Here's a meaningful buy signal on the way up after testing 3-year channel support at 84,522. And really the takeaway here in layman terms is if you are invested in Bitcoin, and your time frame is 6 months and beyond, you are long or want to be long Bitcoin above 84,522. And in fact, after testing this 3-year channel bottom, if we happen to close this week above the high of the low of 95,945, that is your next buy signal on strength. And I do think that these upper levels are in reach then within several months, 2 to 3 months. We could find ourselves back between 113, which is the low of the high, and of course 122, 433, which is that full wave count once again that I show here, A minus B plus A. If in the coming weeks we were to close above all of these levels. Now these, I can break this down for you. If we close this week above 95,945, we should within 3 to 5 weeks or less reach 103,415. That is the 50% upside retracement. If we close above the 50% upside, we should see the low of the high within another 3 to 5 weeks, et cetera, et cetera. These are kind of your 2 to 3, 3 to 5 week swing trades mapped out. Those are the key levels. Holding below 95,945 does actually allow this market to fall back into the mid to upper 80s once again. 84,522 to 86,070 is your base of long-term support. Now, if we were to close below 84,522, and that's not going to happen this week, but this formation, which we'll be continuing to prize you of its location on a week-by-week basis, if we close below that 3-year channel bottom, a near term within 1 to 3 weeks, 3 to 5 at the most, 77,550. This could give the market support on the way down. There's a bit of a kind of this head and shoulders thing happening here. And, this could potentially hold longer term. But quite honestly, the way I would play this, if I would exit some of my long position if we were to close below 84,522. Should you then bottom pick 77,550? You could, but just know that closing below 77,550 is the final shoe to drop in an extended sell signal that I think actually presents itself anyway with a settlement below 84,522. I would prepare for 56,000. Sorry, this is 56,872. There's an extra digit in there. Let's call it the mid 50s and climbing. This is probably a 2 to 3 month collapse. If we close below 84,522, the mid 50s in reach, this is an 8-year channel structure, may well contain selling through the rest of the decade. And above the mid 50s, I'm going to say that Bitcoin remains a relative speculative instrument globally, in a sort of front and center in one of the key speculative instruments that is available for the investment and speculating community. If we break this mid 50s, I think that this instrument fades off into the sunset over time. 84,522, bottom picking territory. I'll jump back to this chart here and just mention that holding above 84,522 will keep the mid 130s and climbing in reach by the end of 26. I'm going to leave it at that for this week's Bitcoin update. You have a great week.